using a pillow. What a cutie. Oh my god. I've got 2 cats on me, but I have to go put my other kids to bed. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, girls. I'm going to have to try and do the in the middle of the legs thing. There you go. Okay, so as I mentioned last vlog, I did start reading Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez, and it's about a young woman who lives in Italy in the 15th century, I think it was, and her family is going through some strife. Her brother has been arrested and is in jail. She is a stone sculptor, but it seems she also possesses some kind of magic. But there is a Fae family, an aristocratic Fae family, that come to visit, and they judge a stone sculpture contest. And so she decides to enter in one of her pieces despite the fact that she's a woman, because if she wins, she gets a boon from the family, and she plans to... Sorry about that, I actually had a hair in my eye. Oh, is it back? No. She plans to ask them to release her brother and drop the charges. So she enters the contest, she wins, her brother goes free, but she must return with his Fae highborn family to be their in-house artist. And I think they go to Florence. Wait, it's back, the hair's back. She has this immediately antagonistic relationship with one of the sons in this Fae family. So she's believed to be a witch. They're Fae. I think vampires also exist. I love the cover, goddamn love the cover. But I gave this book about, I think it was 68 pages. And I had to double check that it wasn't YA. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be adult. But guys, you could have fooled me. You could have fooled me. It was just reading very, very YA, and I just don't, it wasn't for me. So I thought, yeah, I'm not the right reader for this story, as beautiful as the cover might be. So I am going to DNF it. I don't know what I'm going to read next, honestly. I've got this Fairies book here. So this is the non-fiction book about fairies in folklore art and verse. So I might see how this goes. Obviously I'm more interested in the pictures than the words, to be completely frank with you, but I will still read them because that's what I do read. So I'll see if it's got anything interesting or new to say, or if it's just like stuff I've read before. But I think I might go on to this. I'm just not being drawn to the physical library books I have at this point in time. I know ebook wise on Libby, I just got in Jane Austen's bookshelf. I think it is called. So I could read that, but that's another non-fic. I could also go to the library and pick up some new books, but I'm absolutely exhausted today. I only got 2 hours of sleep because I had to wake up at 2 when there was a crazy move in the market because of one particular individual, as usual. And that kept me awake until 6:30. So I was up from 2 a.m. to 6:30, and then I tried to get some sleep because my daughter and her friends were coming over just before 8 to get ready for the swimming carnival. But even though I did fall back asleep, I had this horrible nightmare that involved my daughter, and when I woke up I just felt ill. So I feel wretched. I was so exhausted. This is how exhausted I was. I was delirious. I was so delirious that I imagined that I rang my mum, whom I had plans with today. I was meant to take her out for a brunch and museum visit. I dreamt, I guess, hallucinated that I told her, hey mum, can't go today, I'm exhausted, I've only had 2 hours of sleep, I feel wretched, can we rain check? And then I also imagined her replying saying, no worries, I was just going to message you to let you know that there's meant to be a thunderstorm coming, so you might need to stay home to deal with the flooding. So then you can imagine my surprise when on the couch, at the time I was meant to pick her up, she texted me saying, hey, I'm ready when you are. And I was like, what do you mean, mum? We cancelled. And then I went into the text chain and realized, oh no, never messaged the woman at all. I had never messaged her at all, and she'd gotten all dressed up, and I feel awful, but I was like, I can't, mum, I cannot take myself out today. I feel like week old meatloaf that's been warmed up 3 times already. So I'm going to reschedule with my mum, and hopefully this time I don't hallucinate a whole entire conversation over text. I might watch a movie today, to be honest. I think You know what? I would really like my kids to watch The Fifth Element with me, so I'm going to make them do it. I'm just going to force them. Normally we do a democratic consensus here. Everybody votes on which movie. We all put forth suggestions, and normally I will always allow the children to win, but today it's Mama's turn and we're going to watch Fifth Element because yes, I just did do the Lilu screen to page recently and I have been itching to rewatch it. I'm sure it's still going to be one of my favorite movies, but I'm also sure that there might be some jokes in there or words that haven't aged well. And I must say, not having to do the monthly wrap-ups and therefore not having to record the books within a particular month has been so freaking amazing, because I realized, Chanel, if you're not having to keep everything within the month, you can pre-film all of your little screen to pages in advance, because normally that's just one book that I'm reading, so I can just read them, film them, and they're done and they're all set. So I've already filmed a bunch of them, which is so good. I love doing that because then also I take my time more with my mood reading, because I'm not on a schedule anymore. Mood reading doesn't have a finite, I have to finish this mood reading vlog for this month or whatever. No. Whereas the themed vlogs, they had to be done every month. One, get real weird with it, per month only. So I was waiting for the month to do them, even though I film about 4 weeks in advance. So whenever you see this, it's actually, well, what's the date today? Today is the last day of February, so it's the 28th today, and I think you're going to be seeing this in April. That's how far ahead I've gotten, which is great. So, if I ever get sick again for 3 weeks, it'll be fine. It's the last day of summer though. I just realized that. It is the last day, and it's cold and raining. What a send-off. Oh, that's just bummed me out a bit. I love summer. I really do. I don't love the bushfires, but I do like being warm, and I'm happier and I like to go out more. But, autumn's also a great season in the beginning. I wish I wasn't so affected by the weather, but I just am. I will also say that if you don't see any new videos or community posts from me for 2 months, like once all the videos finish, if there's 2 months of just dead air, that means I have vacated the planet, because I don't want you guys wondering, like, where is Chanel? There's some YouTubers that I used to follow and they just disappeared. They fell off the face of the earth, and I always still wonder every now and again, what happened to them? You won't have to do that with me. If I have not made any post or comment for months, I ain't here no more. So you can rest easy knowing that I now rest in peace. Just thought I'd put that out there. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing any reading today. I cannot keep my eyes open, and I do have to take my daughter and all of her friends after the swimming carnival to the shopping center because they want to celebrate, and I know I can say no. My daughter is so goddamn persuasive and manipulative. She's really good at it. She's really good at convincing me. Let her do something because it's so important and pivotal to her growth as a human being or what have you. She should be a lawyer or something, but I do cave far too easy. I'm not in the space to go out today. Obviously I'm about to go and have a matcha so I can wake myself up a bit, so I can drive the girls home safely. But I'm just, I should have said no. I should have said, sorry, we're not going out today. But the guilt comes in because all of her friends are allowed to take public transport, so they can just all go. She's not allowed, so I still chauffeur her around and I chaperone still. I just don't feel comfortable letting her out by herself without an adult to lend assistance if need be. So she uses that against me quite often. Everybody else is going to go without me. Please let me go too. That means you have to come, and I have to drag NDiaye along as well. So yeah, eventually I probably will let her catch the bus with her friends and go to the local shopping center. But I don't know, I think maybe she'd have to be 16 for me to do that. We'll wait and see. It's not so much an age thing, it's more of a maturity thing. If she did martial arts like I did as a kid, I'd feel better about it, but this kid ain't got no self-defense knowledge whatsoever. And when I told her, hey, go for the eyes, hook your thumbs, gouge her eyes out, she did not like me saying that to her. So I don't think she's got it in her to do an eye gouge, maybe a throat punch, but I don't know, she ain't much of a fighter. Whereas my youngest, I try to get her into anything else. Like, let's do Muay Thai. I think you would love that because she loves to punch and kick especially, but she has massive social anxiety. And so yeah, going to a class wasn't for her. So this is what happens when I'm tired. I chat way too much. I am going to try and vlog a bit more. so I'm not just sitting down and talking books the entire vlog. I will try and, I don't know, film some stuff. Probably nothing in my house. I don't have an aesthetic house. I don't have one of those houses that's visually appealing. I bought this house when I was 21 along with my ex-husband, and we furnished it when I was 21 years old. And yeah, it's an old house. It was meant to be a starter house, but I'm still here. But because I don't think I'm going to be going out as often now that I've given up on finding love, which I kind of had. I just don't feel the need to force myself to go out as much so that I can, be in the world and perhaps meet someone. If ideally, really, like if it was just me going out when I felt like it might only be twice a month. I'm such a hermit and homebody. And I think it's also because I have chronic illness and chronic fatigue. Maybe if I had a lot of energy and I was more social too, I wasn't an introvert, I would like to go out more. But yeah, for me, going out once, twice a week, is not gonna happen anymore, especially solo. The solo outings, there'll probably be less of those. I'm more likely to use what energy I have to actually catch up with one of my loved ones. Because yeah, just going out takes so much from me at this point in time. I'm always hopeful that I can get my chronic illnesses to a level where they're barely noticeable. That is always a possibility when you have anything, including autoimmune stuff. You can essentially get into remission where you're not symptomatic, and I have done that before. It required a lot of dedication in terms of just stress reduction and quality of diet and everything else. Whereas, yeah, all my spoons pretty much go to my kids first and foremost. And as you know, like if someone in my family is ill, it goes to them too. So the priority list for me, I'm never very high on the priority list. It's always like everybody else's needs, and then I will tend to mine. And Matt Dinniman's new book came out, Operation Bounce House, but I won't buy it. I want to read it first at the library before I buy it. I really do just want to only spend my money on my 5-star books. And, if subscribers donate, that's more going onto the Get Real Weird With It, or the most anticipated books on my list. So I do have some of those coming. I think something I pre-ordered is coming in March. So that will be exciting to get a book in the mail, a brand new book that's just for me. But yeah, a lot of my anticipated reads for 2026 have not been good at all. I'm not doing another anticipated books thing next year. It's just, there's no point. Sometimes I am shocked by how little I enjoy the books. So I really thought, based on the premise, I would enjoy. And we had this whole discussion, is it they're not doing accurate descriptions of the premise, or are my expectations too high, yada yada yada. But yes, I would say my most next highly anticipated read is the Operation Bounce House. And I get 2 libraries to order it for me, 2, and they both say yes, I'm first on the docket, but none of them have made the book available yet. And I'm like, come on guys, process that, get it to me. I've been talking for over 15 minutes. My apologies, guys. Note to self, Chanel, don't record when you're tired. You talk nonsense. This was our favorite series. Guys, I'm so tempted to get this. It is $35. There are so many books I want. There are so many. What is this one? I've not seen this before. The Bitter Water of the Lake. I have to look that up later. I think I might just grab a candle, but I'm so tempted. To buy the Matt Dinniman. You found Bubbles?
I found Bubbles.
Indy found Bubbles.
Yeah, that's so cute.
You want to tell me about the one that you got?
Her face is crap. She doesn't even have a head.
I know, it's
Her
broken.
eyes are pretty at least though. Well, if they didn't make her Clockwork,
Yep.
if they just kept the face, moved that, then she would have looked so pretty. She would have been my favorite.
Oh wow.
They made her a freaking clock.
I know they did.
A clock.
Okay, I'm back. I did get a few things. I got some tuna sushi for Dindins. I got just a cheap eyeshadow palette from Kmart because I want to match my makeup looks to the books in Get Real Weird With It, and I just don't All my eyeshadow palettes are pretty much neutrals and there will be like one color in there. So I haven't been able to match that great. So this way I've got everything. And then I got this. I am absolutely obsessed with smoked cherry. As you know, one of my newest perfumes was a smoked cherry perfume. And so when I smelt it, it smells like my perfume. It is so good. Oh, it's so good. So yes, this is the same price as the book. So I could have gotten Operation Bounce House. You know, I might read a preview, and if the preview slaps and I find myself at a bookstore again, I might treat myself. But I did manage to show some restraint. Yes! I found you! Does anyone else's cat stand only on the edge of the litter tray? Only on the rim. Lunch while I watch some YouTube. Summer's over, so the sun be setting earlier. Goodbye, sunshine. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello, my darlings. It has been over 2 weeks since I've last seen you. Unfortunately, every single one of my chronic illnesses decided to gang up on me and flare up at the same damn time. I was outnumbered and they took me down and I had to just cancel all my plans with all my loved ones. But luckily, my loved ones are very understanding of my chronic illnesses. It still, though, it makes me feel like shit when I'm held to ransom by my own body, but that is the chronic illness way of life. I'm finally feeling well enough to put on clothes. Now, my voice might go in and out when I'm having Hashimoto's flare up. It does affect my voice, so apologies for that. But I do feel well enough to actually put on clothes and go out today. And I've rescheduled my mum for today. So I'm just going to take her out to a gallery and a brunch. I just realized I do want to do a tarot card pull, so I'm quickly going to go and grab those and I'll be back to update you on everything that I've consumed in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so let me fill you in. First, I'm going to talk about the movies that I watched. So I am really fucking loving watching films again. I was a massive film nerd as a child. My brother and I would watch movies every single day, sometimes multiple movies a day. And I was very fortunate. Obviously, we had Blockbuster, but my parents also had, I think it was called Galaxy, which was kind of like Foxtel. It was cable back in the day. So we would sit there and look through the timetable and find every movie that we wanted to watch and schedule it in. But yes, I've seen a few. So I did watch Fifth Element with my kids. That is a 5-star movie for me, even though I'm aware certain things haven't aged well, but it is a sci-fi movie. I think it's meant to be set in the 23rd century. And it's about a cab driver, Corbin Dallas, who gets himself an unexpected fare, who just happens to be the fifth element and the hopeful savior of our planet, the only one who can stop the force of evil. I watched it with my kids. I say watched it with my kids. My teenager, my 14-year-old, would only look up from her phone when Ruby Rod was on the screen. But my, oh my God, she's 11. I keep thinking she's 8. She's not, she's 11. My youngest, my 11-year-old, she actually watched it with me and she loved it. She gave it an 8 out of 10. It lost 2 points because of Bruce Willis. She went into a whole tirade of, why is this old, ugly man always trying to kiss Lilu when she's just trying to like save the world? Like, back off, old, ugly man. And he smokes and he drinks, and she was just giving it to Bruce Willis. And I tried to tell her, well, back in the day, this guy was considered very attractive and he was a very famous action movie star. And they all drank and they all smoked and they all had romances with much younger women. She was not having it. So I was like, okay. But yeah, look, I just love the movie. It's nostalgia. It still hits. Like I said, yes, there's some stuff, but I anything that's of its time, I just judge it based on of its time situation. But that's still a 5-star movie for me, and it was fun to watch it with my youngest. I watched, speaking of an old movie, I watched Life Force, which is an erotic sci-fi from 1985. This is about a manned space mission that discovers this alien ship and inadvertently unleashes a race of vampiric creatures that begin to suck the life force out of humans in London. So this crew goes on this ship. There are all these desiccated bat-like creatures, but there's these 3 fucking hot baddies in glass cases, 2 men, 1 woman. The woman fully naked, You see boobs, bum, and bush just for a large period of the movie. The men, though, their Johnsons, their Pippi Tuckins were not visible. So I was like, where's the equality? You know, like, she's fully stark naked for the majority of the movie, and then the dudes, nothing. So I was like, interesting. The chick is banging, okay? She's super hot. And like I said, she is fully naked for the majority of the film. I ended up giving it a 3.5. It's camp, it's old school, it's 1985, okay? The vampires are energy vampires, but not that kind of energy vampire. They suck the life force out of humans and mummify them instantly, and then these mummified humans turn into zombie vampires who must feed every 2 hours, otherwise they explode into dust. Yeah, it was interesting. What are you going to say? 3.5. It was entertaining. Like I said, I'm not going to say no to watching a beautiful naked woman on screen. Then I watched Sentimental Value, which I gave 4 stars. This is about 2 sisters who reunite with their estranged father. I can't remember if they were meant to be Swedish or Norwegian. I can't quite remember. But their father was a once renowned famous director, and he's offering his eldest, who is an actress, a role in his comeback film. The relationship between father and daughters is very strained, to say the least. So this is mostly focused on the complicated parent and child dynamics in this film, and the perpetuating of family trauma and family patterns. It also involves a famous American actress who takes the role after the daughter declines it, and that's Elle Fanning. It was a great film. 4 stars. I then also decided to read the Paris Review, I think. It's a literary magazine that features a lot of different types of writing. So you've got poetry, essays, short stories, in-depth interviews, and also physical art. And I thought it was decent. It's probably something that I will continue to read whenever it comes out at my library. I did enjoy doing that. Now, onto the books that I did finish. So I did actually, in fact, read Fairies, A History in Art, Verse and Law by Nikki van der Kar. This was a non-fiction book about folklore, mythology and art pertaining to fairies. It was very lush, and it was, like I said, filled with beautiful, beautiful artworks depicting fairies and giving you a guide to these mythological creatures. It wasn't just fairies, it was also other mythological creatures like phoenixes and seaman demons. And it was also like letting readers know, even though they might be depicted sometimes as cute cottagecore friends, they're more like ancient beings that you should try very hard to not offend. Because as kids, we all romanticized fairies, okay? We had Tinkerbell in our minds, and in reality, fairies will steal your name, curse your cow, and replace your baby. This book was pretty much, here are 50 reasons why you should leave offerings and mind your own business when it comes to fairies. So I thought there was a really beautiful blending of art and folklore and mythology in this very visually rich exploration of fairies across different cultures as well, which was nice. It was packed with reproductions of famous artworks, and then they paired it with this very digestible, succinct, to the point writing style, as well as fragments of sonnets, poems and stories that featured that creature. And as I said, rather than presenting fairies as these purely romantically whimsical creatures, they did lean more into their duality. So they are beautiful, yes, but they're also very unpredictable, dangerous, and deeply tied to the natural world. They also highlighted beings like household spirits, elemental entities, and trickster figures, reminding readers that the folklore surrounding them was less about fantasy, less about, magical beings, and more about using them as a tool to explain fear, nature, and the unknown. This book is definitely not a deep academic dive. Oh, listen, health flare-ups mean severe brain fog and issues computing. It was very, like I said, very light, skims the surface, but I appreciated that because I didn't really want to go into a complex, meaty, deep dive into each mythological creature. I just wanted a taste. I wanted to showcase some other previous art about them, and I wanted it done in an aesthetic way, and it was done in an aesthetic way. It was very gorgeous, and I think it's a good introduction to fairy lore, especially if you've never read anything about fairy lore before. It's perfect for sparking curiosity rather than exhausting you with all of the heavy details. The main themes in this, I guess themes to do with creatures in general, are always beauty versus danger, folklore as cultural exploration, trickery, boundaries and respect, and the thin veil between worlds. I've decided to do a little thing called a vibe check for the books I read, so just giving you like a taste of the vibes of it. This is moss growing over forgotten statues, wind that feels like it's whispering your name, Victorian paintings of women glowing in the forests, and leaving out milk just in case. I think the people that would like this book are art lovers who want mythology with visuals, and fans of cozy but creepy nature vibes. Similar books and films, Fairies by Brian Froud and Alan Lee. They also have excellent like tarot and oracle decks too. And Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, of course, and the book and the movie Midsummer Night's Dream, which features some of the most famous depictions of fairies, Oberon and Titania. So obviously Seelie and Unseelie were given quite a lot of attention in this book. I rated this 4.5 stars. I actually just enjoyed getting lost in the world of Fae for a while. I then picked up I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel, yes, and I listened to this on audiobook, and it was also narrated by the author, Sheena. This was a social satire lit fic, and it's about a woman who utilizes social media stalking to dissect love, jealousy, power, race, and status. I'm just gonna move this over a little bit. I feel like, am I centered now? I wasn't centered before, was I? I don't think so. So this is about a woman who meets an emotionally unavailable married man whom she refers to as the man I want to be with. This man also is dating a rich influencer adjacent woman whom she refers to as the woman I'm obsessed with. She opens her Instagram, stalks this woman, and pretty much never closes her Instagram account thereafter. She becomes an anthropologist of her own suffering. In this book, everyone is cringe, especially her and especially him. Reading this book feels like scrolling at 2 a.m. when you know you should stop, but you physically cannot. The unnamed narrator is self-aware, but that doesn't save her. In fact, it just makes everything worse. It's like she sees a vial that is marked poison, and she understands it's poison, and she understands that drinking it is only going to harm her, and yet she drinks it anyway. Because she knows she's being humiliated. She knows the dynamics of this relationship are toxic, and she knows the system is rigged, but she keeps going anyway. The main themes in this were of obsession and parasocial fixation, social media as surveillance and self-harm, power, race and desirability, class and access, patriarchy and heteronormativity, status anxiety and self-awareness versus self-destruction. I'll read you a quote. Women are beautiful, alluring, but terrifying forces, and the way to deal with terrifying forces is to break them. He cannot bear a woman to have control over him and sees our sexuality as a threat, set out purposefully to destroy him, which he must evade at all costs. In his failure to experience and take responsibility for his own sexuality, he seeks to nuke the woman, yet simultaneously casts himself as the victim, so the woman he is destroying still takes care of him as she's brought down. You collaborate in your own destruction. The vibe check of this book is doom scrolling your crushes or partner's exes, hot girls intellectualizing their own bad decisions, and detached clinical unhinged. Oh my God, do I say I enjoyed it? I gave it a 3.5. I was entertained by it. It is not subtle though. It really isn't subtle. It is exhausting to read. And the characters are awful, very awful. And the whole book is repetitive. She's doing the same shit over and over and over again. And you just want to scream at her, girl, he's just a shitty man. Stop. Let him go. What are you doing? And like I said, through her narration, the book is also touching on a myriad of topics. Sex is mentioned in this. I will rate it MA for this particular book. Like I said, it's just very messy, very online. I understand the obsession. I think if you've ever been cheated on and you've gone through the hyper detective mode where you are watching, observing everything your partner is doing, but you're also stalking the person that you very much believe they're having an affair with, you'll understand that obsession. And that obsession in not only just trying to find proof, but also in the comparison of yourself to this person that you think they are cheating on you with. Like, I've been there, we've all been there. You can't help but think, what is it about this person that they have that would cause my partner to stray? And you become just as obsessed with the woman as you are with finding out the truth. So it captures that frenetic, intense, soul-destroying energy very well. I would say readers who would like this are ones who like messy, unlikable narrators. And yeah, anyone who's ever compared themselves online to other people and gone down the rabbit hole of fixating on them. Similar books and films: Acts of Desperation, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, Fleabag, and Ingrid Goes West. The next book I picked up was Nothing But My Body by Tilly Lawless. This is a queer, erotic, Aussie autofiction, litfic, and it's a very explicit and raw exploration of desire, identity, and connection that is told through 8 non-consecutive days that capture sex work. So the main character says she's over her ex. She's clearly not over her ex. So she dates, works, and romanticizes everything, regrets nothing while the world's burning. So this was a stream of consciousness about a woman who is a sex worker. She's bisexual. She has an ex-girlfriend, but in her line of work, she also sleeps with men. I think this would be better listened to, which I did. I listened to it as an audiobook, which was narrated by the author, because I saw that many people on Goodreads were complaining that this is just walls of non-stop, never-ending text. Whereas obviously I didn't notice that because it was being read out to me. And this book, though, is intimate to the point of discomfort. It is very unfiltered, and it talks about sex work and queer relationships in explicit details. The narrator isn't trying to be likable, she's just being very honest. It's very messy, self-aware, and occasionally self-indulgent, but it's attuned to how bodies carry memory, trauma, and desire simultaneously. I think the backdrop of bushfires and lockdowns lends this buzz of doom. It makes everything feel more fleeting and more intense. The main themes in this were of the reality of sex work, queer love and chosen family, the body as both commodity and self, loneliness versus connection, climate change and colonization, romantic idealism versus reality, memory, desire and repetition, and survival during crisis. So this was set during the Australian Black Summer fires and the COVID pandemic. I'll read you a quote. "Where has my backbone gone? I know. I ripped it out like a string of pearls to give to her in devotion, jag upon jag of bone, and now she gambles with those same bones, knuckle rap on the machine, coin clink down that insatiable crevice. I want her to fill me up like she fills up that machine. Instead, I cry the milky wet of ovulation down my legs, oiled up and unloved, not even another body in the house to bump against in the hall, or a hug thrown to me as one might throw a bone to a dog as you desert it." The vibe check of this book is smoky air, late night texts and sticky bed sheets, ocean swims and emotional hangovers, and diaries, intimacy, and slightly unhingedness. I enjoyed this book. I gave it a 3.5. I don't love that it was set during the COVID pandemic. I just don't like reading about it. There are, though, so many creative, sexually explicit, laced or charged sentences in this book. Like, the lady was inventive with her descriptions. I'm going to give you a taste of a tamer one. "I need to fix my cunt, all right. It's an annoyance between my legs right now. Heavy with need, gloating and proud, aware of its power. A searchlight streaming from it, on the prowl. Should have masturbated earlier to ease this. Feed my fingers into its greed and let it spit them back out again. Satiated slop." Her kitty is wet 24/7, and we do hear about it constantly. I did find, though, it weird that people in this book were referred to as their identities. So you'd get like a Lebanese lesbian or Tongan trans girl. The book was also a bit navel-gazy, but I think that comes with the territory of sort of autofiction like books. I would say check all the trigger warnings, please, because this could be triggering for a lot of people with all of the things talked about. But I was entertained by the raunchy, dirty, messy humanness of it. I think you would like it if you like queer introspective narrators or books that feel like confessionals. It's also very Australian. It's set in New South Wales. But it was also, like I said, interesting to get a peek behind the curtain of sex work. I have read other sex work books before. I can't remember what the name of the nonfiction one is off the top of my head, but I'll put a picture of it here. Also, something similar would be A New Animal and I'm a Fan. This did remind me of I'm a Fan in its stream of consciousness style and manicness. It's got that very similar obsessive energy. I then got an ARC from NetGalley for the book The Witch by Maria NDiaye, translated by Jordan Stump, because it was listed for the International Booker long list. This is a French magical realism litfic, and it is about a suffocating marriage, inherited witchcraft, and twin daughters who become too powerful to stay small. So in this we have Lucy, and she is a low energy mid-tier witch who is stuck in this very bleak provincial marriage with a man who hates witches almost as much as he hates joy. She ends up initiating her 12-year-old twin daughters into their ancestral witchcraft, and the girls start crying blood tears like they're a bleeding Madonna statue, and they quickly level up beyond their mother's wildest dreams. Nothing says empty nest like your daughters discovering feathers, freedom, and maybe a touch of sociopathic detachment. Your children are yours, and then suddenly they aren't. The themes in this were of motherhood as possession versus release, patriarchal diminishment, generational inheritance, female adolescence as metamorphosis, marriage as quiet suffocation, and the terror of your children surpassing you. My daughters considered the secret of their powers strictly private, as well as fundamentally uninteresting. In another time, they would have felt slightly ashamed of it, but practical, serene, resolute, intensely relaxed, grasping, asking a great deal of life with the most perfect innocence. They had next to no modesty or discretion, were rarely embarrassed by anything. In that those clever little barbarians, my daughters, amazed me. The vibe check is grey skies over a provincial French town, damp lace curtains, metallic taste of blood, claustrophobic kitchens, and twins whispering in unison. I gave this a 2 stars. I did not enjoy it. There was a repeated mentioning of a character's fatness. It was also just a very weird, meandering story. I did not understand the main character's motivations or her passivity. There was not much witchcraft in this. The ending felt very abrupt and unsatisfying, and it just felt like a nothing burger of a book. It felt pointless and lifeless. And I know you're thinking, oh, but Chanel has those themes. Yeah, but it shallowly. I actually don't understand why this book was nominated. I just did not connect to it whatsoever. Like I said, it was just felt very disjointed, and I didn't understand where the author was going with it. What are we meant to come away feeling from this? I think, however, maybe you would like it if you want to read books about witches that contain more existential despair and less spells, or if you are someone who loves very icy, restrained prose. But this just didn't really do anything for me. So it was disappointing, and I've given it a 2 stars. I don't know what's similar. I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head because, like I said, I didn't enjoy the writing style. But that is what I've read thus far. I'm going to grab a tarot card for a prompt. So let's grab one. Oh, okay. So we've got the 2 of Wands today. And what is the prompt for this? 2 of Wands is a book in a series. All right, hold on. Let me go look. What have we got? I haven't got any books on hand physically, so I am going to go to the library to grab some fresh books to read. I'm actually stoked because the new Matt Dinnerman book came out, so I don't have to buy it after all. All right, a book in a series. A book in a series. The new Dungeon Crawl and Carl book, but with the prompts, I can't go into a new prompt until I satisfy it. And that would be a long time waiting to satisfy that prompt. So there are some books, but they are not out yet. I'm trying to see if there's actually something in a series that is out. Is Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence out? Nope. Not yet. Oh, I could read Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink. If you watch my Kobo Cull, you'll know that I accidentally read the 3rd book in that series, which was fantastic. I loved it. So absolutely, I could read that one. I'm going to delete this book because I got rid of that in the Kobo Cull. The new Abby Jimenez is also coming out the night we met. I have pre-ordered it thanks to my viewers, and that is due, I think, is it March or April? End of this month. So once again, that's just a bit far away. So I might just do the Night Vale. I'm just going to quickly go through the list just to see if there is anything else that I know is out right now. There is Something Wicked by Fallon Ballard, but I'm still waiting for that at the library, and I just cannot predict how long that will be before it comes in. Okay, there's a book called The Little Shop of Grand Curiosities by Iris Lake. So that's another option. Not Another Vampire Book by Cassandra Gannon. So I could also read that. We'll just leave it there. I've got 3 options. I'll pick one of them. Today, I'm taking my mum out to the gallery, and for lunch, I'm going to go to that library and get that Matt Dinnerman book and see what else has come in. And then I'll be back and I'll show you my library haul. We ordered the same thing. I've just returned. So I did not go to the library that has Operation Bounce House because it's the one that's further away, and my tummy wasn't feeling well after that meal, so I thought, oh, better head straight home. But I did quickly pop into my local library so I could grab something to read physically. So I've got Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. I don't like this cover. I like the other cover a lot more, but I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is an anticipated read. I believe. So I will definitely probably pick this one up right now. I've also got The Library of Lost Girls by Kirsten Pipp. So this was like the cover. The cover got me. I love that. I've got The Palace of Shells, translated by Polly Barton by my... Oh my gosh, I tell you what this is about. So this is about a widow who finds cats, and there's a romance involved. I think it's magical. We'll see. I don't quite remember. The blurb is vague. And then we've got Library of Lost Girls, Keep to the Light and Avoid the Shadows. So this is about a girl who returns from a school for girls, and she's no longer the sister who left. So one sister's trying to figure out what happened to the other, what's happening at this school for girls. Then this one here is about, what's this about? It's the summer of 2020 as Germany slowly emerges from lockdown, and a Japanese woman studying in Göttingen waits at the train station for an old friend. This friend died a decade earlier in the tsunami, but has returned without any explanation. I've then got The Underachiever's Guide to Love and Saving the World by Sloane Brooks. Courtney gave up her childhood dream of becoming a chosen one, but that doesn't mean she's about to let Bryce claim the title for himself. And the last one I picked up was The Witch of Whispervale by R.A. Salvatore. Oh, it's a second in a series. Sometimes that can happen when I just grab a book off the shelf, you know? I don't sit there and read the blurb. I just go cover grab, cover grab, cover grab. I will go to get, obviously, Operation Bounce House tomorrow. I am trying not to drive as much as possible because Australia only has 32 days left of fuel reserves. And who's that phone number? I returned the wrong book to the wrong library. So this is the downside of having multiple libraries. Oops-a-daisy. I should have checked as I was putting them in. I'll have to go back after school to grab that. But yes, like I said, fuel reserves low. And if we run out of fuel, I don't live in a very walkable suburb. So life will get very, very tricky and very hard. So after I go to that library tomorrow, I'll be trying just to take public transport wherever I can. Obviously only using the car for school and grocery runs until this whole situation is sorted. Look, I'm not pro-war, especially if I believe it's for ulterior motives that are not just for peace. I'm definitely against any civilian casualties, and I know there have been many. But I also do have Iranian friends who had to flee to Australia, and some of whom have never returned because they were not able to return. And I know that they are hopeful for a regime change that would mean that they can go back and see family. So I'm hoping some good will come of this bloodshed. But yeah, it's like, I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's pretty fucked up. But yeah, it's I've got to keep in mind that the petrol, that the fuel might run out. Aussies are already doing what Aussies do, like they did in the 2020 toilet paper debacle, is in they're trying to hoard the petrol. So it's been chaos here. I did fill up my tank, and hopefully, like I said, we all don't run out of petrol. Anyway, I will see you when I probably do the library haul tomorrow. Okay, so I wasn't going to film today because I feel awful. I feel like I am getting sick, but I just received a big package in the mail from one of my viewers, Charles. They've sent me something, and if you want to know something about me, it's that I can't wait to open things. If I get a package or a present, I have to open it immediately. There's just no way I can let this sit here until I feel better. So I'm opening it now. It says it's books. Obviously, I don't know what books are inside. Okay, so I have a little letter. Oh, it's a card. It says thank you. Okay, so that's from Charles. And then let's have a look. What is this? Waiting for the Night. Gothic Love. A colouring book. A colouring book. Oh, do I open it? Oh, I'm going to open it. I'm going to open it and have a flip through, because once again, I'm sorry how I look. I'm really unwell. I was up all night having fever, sweats. So, oh, I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Another letter, open last, okay? Okay, sorry, that was my kid's school calling, so I had to take the phone call. We've got, a 2026 journal and a reading journal. Reading journal. I'm not going to open these right now. I'll do that later because I want to get through all of them before I have to cook dinner. Open first. Oops. That was further down, but there's other things. Oh my gosh, there's a whole pack of Beetlejuice stickers. Oh, something's been squashed and opened. I think it was washi tapes. So some gothic-y themed washi tapes. I'll get them all out. More stickers. Sorry, I have delayed processing today. And some more stickers. Conquest journal. So a lot from this Conquest. Another little washi tape that's come out. Okay, we've got a Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts decals. All right, we've got another one down here. Another card. Okay. All right, let's see what this is. I don't want to read the letters out loud. I'm going to keep them private. Oh, lots of books. Little Moments of Love, Katana Comics. It looks like this. One of Those Days. I feel like these people have been on the internet. Okay, there's also a whole bunch of cards in here. Okay. So this is what this one looks like. Open last. Well, this is last. Wait. Open second. Sorry. I'm just going to situate myself. Open second. Okay. Thank you very much. It's a special edition of Say You'll Remember Me, which is one of my favorite romances. So thank you very, very much for that. It's got the sprayed edges. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, now we've got the open last package. This would have been absolute bitch to send in terms of price because books are heavy. Okay. Okay. Special editions, I think these are going to be. I don't know of what. If it's going to be of 5-star books I've already read or something new. What are these? I don't recognize. Oh, is this a box set? Oh, Jesus. What is this? Silver Blood and Gilded Blood by Rachel Renner. I don't know. Complete series, Gilded Blood. I don't know what this series is, but obviously now I will give it a go. Thank you very much for your gift, Charles. I appreciate it.
Melville Dewey hired women as librarians because he believed the job didn't require any intelligence. It was a woman's job.
That's not my fault.
That means it's underpaid and undervalued. This country has more illiteracy than some of the most underdeveloped nations. Even Americans who can read don't. They watch movies, they watch television, they watch movies on the television.
Hello my darlings, I have read some more things. Let me update you on everything I've read. I'm going to be finishing off this vlog right here. So I watched some films. We'll start with Pillion. As I was saying, I gave Pillion a go. So Pillion is about Colin. Colin is a very timid man and he meets Ray. And Ray is this very confident bikie gang leader who initiates him into a submissive relationship. I gave this a 2. I understood this was going to be Dom sub. I didn't realize that Ray gets off on humiliating his subs, so I wasn't really ever entirely sure if Colin also had a degradation kink, because consent was never ever brought up once. Things were just done to Colin without any conversation beforehand. That's just icky to me. And Ray was just an emotionally unavailable dick, so I didn't like it. It didn't do much for me. I then watched Party Girl, which is about Mary, who loves to party, and she finds her life changed after she is arrested and she gets bailed out by her godmother under the stipulation that she works at the library to pay off her debt to her. So I ended up giving this a 2.5 stars. This is a movie from the 90s. It is very much of its time. If you understand what I mean about some things that have dated not well. Besides that, put that aside if you just look at it as a movie of its time. I liked the fashion in it. I thought the fashion was fun. However, there were scenes with one of the characters who's a DJ, and I don't understand what it brought to the film. I'm like, all of these dudes' scenes could have been axed. It would have been absolutely fine. So yeah, he was just very, very boring. So I ended up giving this a 2.5. Obviously, I loved all of the library scenes in this. I will also update you that I was reading Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinnerman. I read 100 pages approximately. I did decide to DNF. For me, I didn't care about the characters. None of them had gravitas or charisma whatsoever. And the story just wasn't entertaining. It was reminiscent of maybe Ready Player One and Ender's Game. It is a sci-fi book where you have a settler community who are not completely human anymore, and people on Earth consider them to be subhuman, and they've now sent these giant mechs to the planet that are being controlled by kids to sort of exterminate the settlers so that the people on Earth can reclaim this planet and use it for its resources. The storytelling of it wasn't interesting, and it just didn't have any of the humor, say, of Dungeon Crawler Carl. And like Dungeon Crawler Carl, its biggest asset are its characters. And this didn't have anybody that I gave a hoot about. So yeah, I was like, fuck, I'm not enjoying reading this. It's very mid. Decided to call it quits at 90 pages. Might be for you. Unfortunately, it was not for me. Then I picked up Clockwork Fairies by Rambo. So this is a historical steampunk fantasy novella, and it is about a mixed race, socially awkward inventor who creates clockwork fairies while her man-of-the-cloth fiancé tries to lead her down a more pious and acceptable path. Desiree, our inventor, prefers the company of gears, springs, and tiny mechanical wings to actual people. Her proudest achievement is this swarm of clockwork fairies that whirl, whiz, glitter, and buzz about. Unfortunately, her fiancé, Claude, firmly believes that the universe already has a perfectly good hierarchy thanks to God, and cannot understand why anyone would want to invent new life forms, especially ones that are powered by pocket watch parts. With Darwin's blasphemous theories of evolution floating around and mechanical creatures buzzing through the garden, Claude is absolutely desperate to lead Desiree and her vast inheritance into his world and away from this new enigmatic stranger who has taken an interest in Desiree's creations. Meanwhile, Desiree just wants to tinker and be left in peace. The main themes in this were science versus faith, artificial life and creation, curiosity versus tradition, racism, loneliness and finding companionship in unexpected places. I will read you a quote from the book. "And I knew very well that it was my looks that initially attracted Desiree. Like all women, she is drawn to this world's baubles, not realizing their transient mayfly nature. But with time, she had sounded my mind's depths, and I flattered myself that what she found there had strengthened her attraction to me. Vibe check for this book. It's giving whimsical steampunk, intellectual, Victorian satire energy, and chaotic, tinkering gremlin vibes." I ended up giving this a 3.75. I loved her father as a character in this. He was giving the daddy from Crimson Peak. He knew what's up. He knew what was up. He knew what's up. And I hated Claude with a fiery passion, and having to be in his POV sucked. I also felt the book ended abruptly. Sometimes with short story novellas, I'm satisfied, and sometimes I do think, could have used a few more pages, and it was the latter in this case. But a 3.75 nonetheless. I think people that would like this book are people who enjoy reading books with steampunk aesthetics, or about women who upset the status quo. Some other books that are similar: 10,000 Stitches and The Clockwork Girl. The next book I read was an ARC or an ALC from NetGalley. So this is an audiobook that I received. It is Odessa by Gabrielle, Sher, and it was narrated by Jilly Messer. This is a Jewish folklore historical fantasy. It is about a murdered Jewish girl who is brought back to life by her grieving father's forbidden magic, but something dark may have come back with her. So this is about Yetta, and Yetta lives in this tense little shtetl where fellow Jews are violently murdered by the local Cossacks before she too meets her horrific end. Her father reacts in the most logical way possible, and by that I mean he digs into ancient mystical texts, the Kabbalah, and performs very questionable resurrection magic. I'm not speaking properly. The good news is that Yetta comes back. The bad news is that she comes back wrong, and with a little extra bonus surprise. She feels different. Her family is acting suspicious around her and her insomnia regarding a very dark night's events. And there's also this mysterious creature who is hanging around the woods that might be connected to her in some way. So this book blended Jewish folklore with grief and horror in this very emotional story. A lot of exploration about grief and diaspora identity. Yetta's resurrection becomes more than just a supernatural twist in the book. It is a metaphor for how trauma transforms people and families. The main themes in this were grief and love, the danger of forbidden magic, Jewish folklore and mysticism, identity after trauma, family secrets, resurrection and transformation, and fear within persecuted communities. I don't have any quotes to read you from the book because I did listen to this and I did not write anything down, and because it's an ARC, no one else has added any quotes thus far. So I'm just going to go straight into the vibe check. This book was giving foggy forests, candlelit prayers and ancient texts, forbidden mystical rituals, something watching from the trees, and parents who love desperately and too much. I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. It's a dark and heavy book. Okay, so it is definitely more historical, lit-ficky drama than horror. The horror element wasn't as major as I was expecting it to be, especially even with the cover itself as well. I was expecting this to lean more horror, it leant more historical trauma. It was very sad and depressing. Obviously, it's about the persecution of these people for being othered, and racism and rape and murder and all that sort of stuff. I just wanted more monster vengeance. I felt like I didn't get enough of that in this book. So that's what brought the rating down for me. I would say that you would enjoy it if you like dark folklore retellings and if you like Jewish myth and mysticism. So I don't want to talk exactly about what the Jewish myth and creatures that are in this, because I feel like if you don't, because they're not mentioned on the blurb, but is something that I'm interested in. Similar books, The Golem and the Ginny. The next book I read was Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. So this is a cozy fantasy romance, and it is about a list-loving cat rescuer who discovers that the new home for her shelter sits atop a chaotic magician's hideout, and both her heart and her life might need reorganizing. Agnes Aubert, who is a widow, has pretty much two coping mechanisms, and that's taking care of cats and keeping things in check. Running the cat rescue is what keeps her life tidy and meaningful until she relocates the shelter due to some unfortunate magician mishaps, and she discovers that the building has an extra feature, and that is a secret magical lair that is currently being occupied by the infamous Havelock Renard, a smug, charming, dark magician who treats organization like it's a personal insult. He messy. While Agnes is trying to keep her rescue running smoothly, Havelock keeps popping up with magical disasters, evil enemies, and it's very inconvenient attraction. So between wrangling enchanted cats, magical mayhem, and a man who clearly doesn't understand the importance of taking inventory, Agnes begins to suspect that life and love might be better when allowed to get a little messy. This is cozy fantasy comfort food. I don't normally like cozy fantasy, but this is the exception for me. It's a lot of it is about the emotional healing that comes from caring for animals and letting new people into your life. Agnes was a delightful protagonist, in my opinion. She is slightly prickly, but she is also grief-stricken. But she's also someone whose love for her rescue cats is just wonderful to read about. Her relationship with Havelock also provides a very fun order versus chaos dynamic, and the romance just grows through their banter and their mutual annoyance, but also respect. The cats also steal the show. I love all the kitties. I have my favorites, and there were actually some cats, I'm not going to name names, that I was not impressed with. Bad kitty. The main themes in this were of grief and rebuilding after loss, second chances for both people and cats, order versus chaos, found family, the healing power of caring for creatures, and letting life be messy. I will read you a quote. "I cannot tolerate it when people dislike me. I never stop thinking about it, to the point where it is like I am wearing their dislike wherever I go, which chafes like wet shoes." The vibe check. It's giving cozy witch fantasy, rainy afternoon reading, soft magic and sarcastic flirting, bookstore cat energy, and warm, whimsical comforting. I gave this a 4.75. It was just lacking that 5-star feeling for me, but I absolutely was delighted. Like I said, I don't normally go for cozy. However, this did have enough stakes and action and threats in it for me to be entertained and excited and invested. There were enough stakes for me, so it's not completely cozy. I was a fan of the romance. I was definitely shipping them together. There is a bit of a love triangle situation happening as well. I'll put that in there. I was interested by the world and how magicians and magic works in this. I love the cats, obviously, and learning their names and their little personalities and quirks. The whole thing of her also having grief and being widowed so young added, a lot of emotion to it. Even with Havelock too, and his familial relationships that were strained and unhealthy. It was just a delight to read, and being set in these little quaint towns with a little community whom she ends up winning over via her cats. It was just delightful. It was a feel-good book, and I loved it. Like I said, it just didn't have that je ne sais quoi, that undefinable 5-star feeling that sometimes you get with books. So it's a 4.75. Phenomenal. Obviously, you would like this book if you like cats. It is for all the cat people. And also if you like magical small community stories. Similar books. Howl's Moving Castle. So much Howl's Moving Castle in terms of Havelock being similar to Howl, and even the transportation of their castle to different locations. That was the biggest one. I haven't heard anybody mention that as a comparison thus far, but that is what I would say 100%. Also things like the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, or Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, or The House Witch, things of that vein. So let me sum up all the books I read in this reading vlog for you. So we have Fairies, A History in Art, Verse and Lore by Nikki I gave this a 4.5. It is in your best interest to leave offerings. #GotMilk. I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel, narrated by Sheena Patel, which I gave 3.5. Touch Grass? No, I'll just keep refreshing her profile. Nothing But My Body by Tilly Lawless, narrated by Tilly Lawless. I gave this 3.5. Clock In, Bottom, Clock Out. The Witch by NDiaye, translated by Jordan Stump. I gave this 2 stars. Fly Away, Children, Fly Away. Clockwork Fairies by Rambo. I gave this 3.75 stars. Can't Keep a Girl in STEM Down. Odessa by Gabrielle, Sher, narrated by Gilly Messer. I gave this 3.5 stars. Dad Resurrects Daughter. Daughter returns with bonus mystery entity. And my favourite book of this reading blog was Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett, which I gave 4.75 stars. Every stray deserves a home, even the man-shaped magical ones. For today's question that I am clearly making into a thing I do every vlog now, comment down below what your name would be if you were a cat and what type of cat you would be. And until next time, stay wild, Star Child.